Hello, fellow Araxians. Commander Cyrious here. Well, guys, it came like a thief in the night, but the new Planetside update integration is here. The robot faction, NS Operatives, is now free to play for everyone that has at least a VR20 character on their account. We're going to discuss what they bring into the game, what some of the other big changes with the patches are, and if that means it's time to come back to Planetside 2. Let's roll the splash and then we'll discuss. Robots everywhere. So the patch dropped a few days ago, and the servers have been running about 75% of their populations as the new NS faction, which is not surprising given they got so much love this time around. Quick pro tip, guys, if you're working on your commander's helmet, there's a lot of low-level robots that count towards your mentorship ribbon. So good time to do some platoon leading. Guys, first thing I'm going to do is take you through the patch notes so you know what's going on and you catch the key details in them, and then we're going to dive into the effects it'll have on the game. First, guys, to unlock NSO, even if you've already had one before, you're going to need to do a quick mission. It's just talking to someone in the sanctuary to unlock it for your account. Guys, if you're joining Planetside for the first time, maybe just because you heard about this patch, you will have to play one of the 3 default factions to battle rank 20 before you can get in on the robots, the NS Operatives. Now, guys, once you have your robot, by default, you're something called freelance, and that means robots are meant to be the balancing faction. They will always join whatever faction has the lowest population on that continent. If you are a free-to-play player, you will always be in this state. If you are a member now, they are allowing robots to join outfits of the 3 factions. You can accept a mission that will allow you to pick a faction, and you will play as a member of that faction. You will still have the option to go back to freelance state, but once you're in freelance state, you no longer have access to outfit comms, outfit resources, all those benefits. Some bad news, though, for existing NS Operative outfits. They are being retired. NS Operatives can make a new outfit, but it has to be aligned with a specific faction. You cannot use that outfit in freelance state. There were a few conflicts here where outfits could use some of their members' NSO outfits while still playing on the same faction to, say, pull 2 bastions in a row or have 4 orbital strikes ready to go. The devs are open to finding a way to preserve the existing NSOps outfits, but for right now, they're basically locked. They can't gain new resource points. Once they spend what they have, it's done. Okay, now into the big, exciting stuff. The NS Operatives, the robot faction, now has a faction-specific, I'm going to call it an ESF, Empire-Specific Fighter, but it's a little more unique, and they have a faction-specific MBT, main battle tank. That is the Dervish and the Chimera. The Dervish has 6 weapons available to it. It has 3 options as nose guns that the pilot controls, and 3 options as top turrets that their gunner controls. It is a 2-seated vehicle. The Chimera battle tank has a pilot, a secondary gunner, and then 6 jump seats. So feel free to hop on one of these if you need a ride between bases. It has 3 main turrets and 3 secondary turret options. This is one of the key areas where the NS Ops faction always felt lacking. Getting their vehicle arsenal rounded out really makes them feel like a real faction and not a second thought. On top of that, NS Ops now has its own faction-specific weapon loadout. Previously, they were kind of forced to make do with all the NS weapons, NS-15s, 11s, etc., and the NSX weapons, which is a little bit boring because everyone had already played those weapons on other factions. Now they have a full repertoire, 3 carbines, 3 assault rifles, 3 LMGs, 3 SMGs, 3 shotguns, 3 scout rifles, 3 sniper rifles, all faction-specific to them. On top of that, they now have directive trees based on all these weapons and new Araxian weapons to unlock by completing those directive trees. Now, the Javelin is not new, but they've added an arsenal, extra weapons for the Javelin, and a new directive line. So the Javelin got spiffed up a bit. The NS Defector got an overhaul. This is the max variant of the NS Ops, and they tried to maxify it a little bit more. It got an AA weapon and a long-range AV weapon. It can now use implants, and they overhauled its look a little bit. One unique feature about Defectors is they can trigger things like shield generators or vehicle shield generators, unlike regular maxes. Also, a key thing to note for NS operatives, you do have the option to choose between a male or a female voice pack for them. I was able to swap between them freely. I'm not sure if that's because I was a member or if they're just free to everyone. Okay, now some news for everyone. A7, the black market currency that was added a while back that has sort of set their cap for a lot of people, is back on the menu with the directive line overhaul for NS Ops. They have new weapons available at those directive lines. They took the old original directive reward weapons and add them to Black Ops rewards, so anyone can go purchase them now. On top of that, they added an extra black market weapon, which is sort of a silenced Baron variant. Good news on A7 at least. A7 was nerfed significantly when it was taken away as an alert reward. Then people are having trouble getting over a soft cap because they weren't getting the missions anymore. Now you will continuously get the missions, so you will always be able to get A7. It will be a little slower going because it is not on alerts. So you're looking for the Bounty Hunter mission and you're looking for the NSX Trial Weapon mission. Those are going to be your best sources for A7. The other option is you can find it in-game on terminals, on buckets, throughout the environment. It's a little blue glowing orb. It emits a very faint sound, and you can pick up, 20 to 40 A7 that way. Best way to do it is still going to be completing those daily missions when they pop up. Okay, guys, next we're into some minor random changes, but some of them are sort of high impact. They added nanite auto repair to the NS Ops faction. You guys may remember that. It's on vehicles a lot of the time. Starts repairing your vehicle after a few seconds without damage. Interesting little faction flair there. Aircraft Synergy. This is an engineer passive that repairs aircraft while they're flying them. Now works on the Dervish and heavy fighters, and they also got the Valkyrie in there. This will come later, but part of the reason they probably did that is you can no longer repair a Valkyrie from the rumble seat. The Saber 13, the Terran Republic Assault Rifle, got a little buff. It was a 2-tier damage drop-off. It's now just a single-tier damage drop-off, 143 being the minimum. The Beetlejuice got changed. It got, some people would argue, a nerf. Some people would argue a buff. What happens is now, if you overheat it, you have to reload the weapon. Now, the buff part of it is reloading the weapon is faster than what it takes to cool the weapon down. But the key thing that this change does is that if someone's using their Beetlejuice, overheats it, and switches to their pistol because of that, it will not reload in their pocket. So if you're a really savvy user, you can basically use it just like you used to. You just got to not fire that last round and it will still pocket reload. But what it does is if people are in a hectic situation, they use it till, oh no, I can't fire anymore, and then pull out their pistol. They don't get a free reload while their pistol's out. Overall, I would call it a slight nerf. I think it just means people have to be a little bit more skilled to use it the way they always did. And they also did nerf the bleed-off rate. It's a 1,000-point pool. It used to be 240, now it's down to 200. So it will take a little bit longer for it to cool down. The Tengu got a minor buff going from a 120 millisecond refire to a 117 refire. The Kappa get a small nerf. Its aim down sight had a faster refire time. Its ADS refire time is now the same as its hipfire refire time. The Daimyo got a nerf. It's made much less spammable, doubled the refire time, and made the first shot multiplier a lot higher, which, since it's a semi-auto rifle, is every shot. So while it's still semi-automatic, you got to use it a lot more like a bolt action in terms of taking a shot and then recovering, rather than spamming 3 to 4 shots downrange. Extended mags, while super fun, they did get a nerf in this pass. It now increases your weapon equip and unequip times. Okay guys, now we have the high impact changes. Rumble seat repairs have been nuked. Valkyries, harassers can no longer do it. I think something that was on their mind was the Chimera battle tank. Also has rumble seats now. So they have taken the rumble seat repair away. I think they were worried about some of the tankiness that Valkyries have. If you had strikers in it and a cast below, you were kind of immune to the ground and immune to air. Now Valkyries won't really have sustain. They'll have to pop in and then go away to repair. I think there was some balance concern if they allowed the new MBT to have rumble seat repair, while there's no way to allow that on the 3 existing MBTs. And our harassers, which I think is one of the more common uses of the rumble seat repair, definitely got a big nerf with that one. So this is going to be a pretty polarizing one. People that are vehicle mains are going to be disappointed. People that hate harassers running around on the perimeter of battles are going to be real happy because they can't sustain as well. We'll see how it plays out. I'm sure they'll make adjustments in the future as needed. The other big one is battle rifles and scout rifles have been merged. And that means classes that could use battle rifles before, think heavy assault, can now use scout rifles. So there is no longer a battle rifle category. They are all now called scout rifles. Okay, guys, then there is a big list of changes, bugs, fixes at the bottom. You can read through them here. A lot of them have to do with making NSO work. There were faction-specific jump pads that NSO ops couldn't use when they were on that faction. Solve that. Etc., etc. I'm going to touch on some of the key ones I'm pretty excited about. Merit will no longer be cleared when leaving an outfit. I think this is key. I actually think it was okay when someone left the outfit, but the problem is people were getting kicked from the outfits unwillingly and then losing all their merit. So I'm really glad they changed this. Obviously, you have to start over again with your rank, but you don't lose all that work and you can still spend that merit. So that's exciting. On that note, one major nerf is you can no longer purchase boosts, nanite, or experience with your merit. While this is a really disappointing change, I can understand why it's happened. I've basically solely bought experience boosts with my merit for a long time. So every time a double experience weekend came around, I was running dual 30-minute experience boosts throughout it and making tens of thousands of certs. This was a very lucrative period. We maxed out our A7 really fast. We maxed out our cert cap really fast, and unfortunately is now gone. But I think it will create a situation that is much more balanced, and they may even have members decide, okay, I'm going to buy a one-day boost for this double experience weekend and throw some Daybread cash at them. So guys, with merit, you can now buy all those cosmetics. I'm sure you already have the tactical slot items, and you can also really deck out your Colossus tank. That's kind of all you can do with merit now. Spawn rooms in biolabs were taken away. That one's interesting to me. I haven't played that one enough yet. Right now you have to spawn at a satellite base, either go to the jump pad, find the teleporter, or the old-fashioned way where you park a Sunday at the elevators going up. So we'll see how that plays out. Guys, this is not in the patch notes, but I did not notice when they fixed it. I'm sure it was announced a little while back, but your kill feed now has explosion kills and when you run someone over. I am really glad they solved that bug, just because I like being polite and messaging people when I run them over. So thank you, Daybreak Games, for solving that. I didn't give them props or see when that came through. Great job. Quick note, the nanite boost will no longer give you a double cert reward for the alert, so don't worry about spamming those at the end of the alerts anymore. There, those are the key ones. You can read the rest if you want, but I think that those are the most important ones. Also, even though they did that whole big patch, they have also released the 4th of July event. There is double experience going on right now through July 5th. There is 40% off for cosmetics. And the flare guns are out there if you have not purchased yours yet. Soul Soldiers, that's the deal. That's what you got here now. Now let's talk about it for a little bit. I have never been a super excited robot guy. The one thing they had always promised to be or were meant to do was to balance the faction populations. And the problem is, since they were locked behind membership, there were so few of them on the continents that they had no chance of doing that. They were completely ineffective at that goal, their one main goal, while they were brought into the game. Now that anyone can play them, and most people are playing them, the faction populations will always be balanced. So if that was always your gripe about Planetside 2, was that NC or VS or TR, whatever faction you were on was always underpopped, and it sucked because you didn't have to go to the other factions, you wanted to stay there, but it always felt unfair. Now is your time to come back to Planetside 2, because it is going to be balanced. There was a poll, and people were like, well, when are people going to stop playing robots, and what's it going to level out at? It was a really good question. I think most people think it's going to level out at like 15% of the player base will just stick with robots as their main. And if we retain that much, yes, the faction balance should continue forever. Because if one faction is severely underpopulated, that faction will get all 15% of robots, and it'll get evened out pretty darn fast. Now, there's a caveat to that, though. Not all robots will be freelance. That's the one big thing here, is some robots will want to stick with their faction, and some robots will become faction-specific. So even though it'll say 15% are robots, maybe only 5 or 7% are freelance. So we'll see how that plays out over time. That said, everyone's going to be new. It's going to be exciting. There are a whole bunch of new weapons to Araxium. So I'd say you have a good 6-month period here where you're going to have really even populations. Now, I don't think that's the difference of whether your faction wins or loses. I think that's an entirely different thing. So if that was your concern, I don't think it's solve it, but at least the percentages you're going to see on the maps are going to be even. And I'd say for most of people that complained, that was their big concern. So great time to come back and feel like everything is more balanced. Next big thing, the robot weapons are awesome. At least the one I've tried. NS usually has a big trade-off in terms of damage per second for their stability. These weapons seem to have punch and stability. I mean, so many of these weapons are just laser accurate. I think they're going to be really enjoyable weapons to use. Some people are going to complain a little bit that all the skins are the same. There's not a huge amount of diversity. While they all look different, it's not that different. Compared to launch, where like 4 weapons basically use the same exact model, there's still an improvement over that. So guys, and the number one reason to me why now's the time to come back is because the hype. It's always a Planetside. Everyone loves it, right? People love it, but it gets mundane. It gets a little monotonous. It gets a little repetitive. Even though the battles are still so much more expansive than when you get in something else, people still tend to drift away over time. If you're curious about it, now is the time. This is the period for the next 3 months where it's going to be popping. It's going to be exciting. You want to be around. Also, if you're a new player, that increased population means you're not going to be pitted in these small battles against really skilled players as much. You're going to have a buffer of other friendlies around you, and you're going to have a buffer of new beginning players on the other factions. So a great time to get started when the playing field's a little bit more level. So guys, take advantage of this new exciting patch and get out there to relive it, remember it, or try it for the first time right now. Well, soldiers, there it is. I am going to be running robot ops when I can. Just a quick heads up, I am out of town here for a little bit, so my stream schedule will be on halt for a moment. I will get back to it as soon as I am available. I do want to give a big shout out to Mr. Chuck Baller. He dropped by the stream the other day and just blew up chat, made everyone members, dropped some bits. He is truly the baller. I'm going to have a link to his YouTube down. It might be in the upper right of your screen. It might be down in the description, but please go check him out, guys. He's a prolific creator. He's always streaming. If you ever just want a good dude to hang out with, go say hi to Mr. Chuck Baller. In-depth guides, Chimera reviews, Dervish, that's coming. That's on the table. I need a lot more time to play with him, guys. So I will get into kind of finding the strats and all that stuff, but that'll come over time as we use these things more. If you ever want a team to run with, come out with the Road Hammers here on stream. Mondays, Thursdays, nights, Saturdays again soon. I've been saying that for 2 months now. And we'll all roll together. We do that there on Twitch. Link is down in the description. Please make sure you're followed up there. Okay, fellow Araxians, that is it. Happy 4th of July. I know that's kind of US based, but you know, whatever your Independence Day is, happy that. Sorry we didn't celebrate that one on that day. Thanks for celebrating this one with us over in the US. P.S. Rel, I demand squirt guns. I always forget when the summer event is supposed to come out, but give us our squirt guns. But that's it for now, soldiers. Until next time, I'm CMDRCyrious, and I will see you Planetside.